it would be a huge boost for everyone, particularly back at the factory.
The 7-time champion came through turn 14 on a flyer.
Las Vegas. Friday night, freezing asphalt, red flags everywhere. Lewis Hamilton steps out of the SF25 and everyone expects frustration. Instead, he's smiling. Not the polite, media-trained smile, the real one. The one that tells engineers their car just woke up. Because beneath all that chaos, all those ruined laps, all those yellow flags that destroyed his qualifying sims, Hamilton felt something in that Ferrari that he hasn't felt all season long. Something strong. And what he said next? It didn't just shock the paddock, it flipped the entire mood inside Maranello. Because in Formula One, when a 7-time world champion says the car feels incredibly positive on a night when nothing went right, you listen. So the question is, has Ferrari finally unlocked the SF25, or is Hamilton just trying to convince himself? Let's rewind. Las Vegas on a Friday is brutal. The track surface starts like sheet ice. Tires refuse to switch on, the slightest mistiming ruins and Hamilton? He didn't get a single clean lap on the soft tires. Not one. Yellow flags, red flags, interrupted push laps. It was the kind of session that should leave any driver walking away deflated. But Hamilton came out of that garage sounding energized. He told the media he was finishing strong in Sector 1, the coldest, most grip-starved part of the circuit, the place where drivers usually complain the most. And then he said something that made Ferrari's engineers sit up straighter. The car felt stable, predictable, incredibly positive. That's not PR talk. That's a driver who's discovered something real underneath him. But here's where it gets interesting. Hamilton admitted all his best laps were set on the medium tires, not the softs. And for a Ferrari that struggled on harder compounds all season, that's massive. Because if the SF25 can generate heat, rotation, and traction on mediums in freezing Las Vegas conditions, then the soft tire performance, that's still untapped potential. Potential Hamilton never even got to explore. And that's when you realize this wasn't just a positive Friday. This was Ferrari finding a setup window they've been hunting for months. But the chaos hit it from everyone except the man behind the wheel. So what changed? Hamilton revealed that Ferrari made adjustments between FP1 and FP2. Subtle ones. Differential settings. Front-end responsiveness, rear stability under braking, and suddenly, the car transformed. He talked about hitting apexes cleanly in low-temperature corners, about the front end rotating with willingness, about traction out of slow turns that felt better than McLaren's. That last part, that's not throwaway praise. Hamilton specifically compared Ferrari's power delivery to McLaren's and said the SF25 handled it better on exit. In Las Vegas, where long straights follow tight corners, that advantage is everything. But here's the twist. Hamilton also said he doesn't expect to make many changes before qualifying. Wait, what? This is a driver known for chasing perfection, for demanding micro adjustments, for never being satisfied. And now he's saying, the car's already where it needs to be? That's not confidence, that's belief. Let's dig into what Hamilton actually said because the details reveal everything. When asked about the conditions, he admitted FP1 was slippery, very slippery. But then he noticed something unusual. The track evolution came fast, faster than expected. Rubber went down, surface temperature reacted, and the SF25 allowed him to push instinctively, not cautiously. For a driver with Hamilton's aggressive entry style, that kind of feedback builds trust, and trust is what's been missing all season. He also mentioned that he never completed a proper lap on the softs. Every time he bolted them on, a yellow flag appeared, which means Ferrari's true pace. Still hidden. But Hamilton wasn't frustrated. He was optimistic because the underlying balance, the DNA of the car was already there. And then came the statement that really shifted the mood inside Ferrari. We're not in a bad place. The pace was strong today. I'm excited for tomorrow. Not hopeful, not cautiously optimistic, excited. That's the word that changed everything. Because when Lewis Hamilton, the most experienced driver on the grid, the man who's seen it all, says he's excited about a Ferrari in Las Vegas, you know something serious is happening. So what does this mean for Ferrari? First, it means the SF25 is waking up at exactly the right time. Las Vegas has always been a circuit where Ferrari can shine. Long straights, big braking zones, a surface that rewards teams who can switch tires on without destroying them. And Hamilton's feedback suggests Ferrari have nailed the setup for these conditions. But there's a deeper consequence here. This wasn't just about lap times. It was about leadership, because while Hamilton was talking up the car's performance, he was also addressing the media storm around Ferrari's internal tensions. He confirmed he talks with John Elkann several times a week. He said there's no culture of blame inside the team. He took responsibility for himself, for everyone, and in doing so, he didn't just defend Ferrari, he rebuilt the narrative. Where the media wanted conflict, Hamilton offered cohesion. Where guilt was pointed out, he offered shared responsibility. That kind of emotional intelligence, that's what turns a good driver into a leader. And Ferrari needed that leadership more than they needed speed on Friday night. Because the real battle in Las Vegas wasn't against McLaren or Red Bull, it was against doubt, against fracture, against the media's attempt to split Ferrari open from the outside. And Hamilton refused to let it happen. So here's where Ferrari's Las Vegas story could go. Scenario 1, Hamilton gets a clean lap in qualifying and Ferrari locks out the front row. The SF25's hidden pace becomes visible and suddenly, Maranello isn't just hoping, they're hunting. Scenario 2, the cold temperatures shift overnight. The setup window closes and Hamilton's optimism becomes just another what if in a season full of missed opportunities. Scenario 3, Ferrari executes, Hamilton delivers. And the world remembers that the 7-time world champion didn't come to Maranello to retire. He came to win. And maybe, just maybe, Las Vegas is where that story truly begins. So ask yourself this. Was Hamilton's statement genuine belief or strategic confidence? Has Ferrari really found something special in the SF25? Or is this just another chapter in a season of almosts? One thing's certain, when the lights go out in Las Vegas, we'll know if Hamilton's optimism was justified, or if it was just hope dressed up as speed.